Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, March 18th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. And then also, if you're into Bitcoin, I will be doing a bonus chart at the very end. Real quick, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candle that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, GERN. Very nice move around this one today. And now we have ourselves a nice pattern headed into Monday. And as I draw this line here, please understand, I'm not trying to press you. I'm not trying to imply that this is some great discovery or anything like that. Got to think a lot of people have drawn a line very, very similar to that. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there are no guarantees, is it plausible that if the price comes up here and then pushes up through, that break right there in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So definitely keep an eye on that if you like to play breakouts. If you prefer to play more so pullbacks, interesting area from a support standpoint, right down there at $3.10. So keep an eye on that. And then just from an overall kind of pattern standpoint, try to keep it all in color. Resistance, support, big upwards move right there. You could call this a good solid bull flag pattern. But as I speak, you can see this afternoon the price has been quietly creeping back up there. So can it get up to the top part of that pattern and get the break? We'll see what Monday has to offer. Next one, GOEV. And right off the bat, I mean, we're just going to start with the main level of resistance. Maybe you already noticed it, but check out that pink line there, which on my chart denotes the very well known, the very famous 200 period moving average. You can see right there, it's already behaved as resistance once. And then right here, this late afternoon, once again is acting as resistance. So that's going to be the big question mark headed into Monday is can the price finally get the break up through that very stubborn level? And it's not shocking. I mean, it's a 200 period moving average. That's why it's famous, because when prices are below it, it does tend to act as resistance. Does not mean that the price can never break through it. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is struggling at that area. So keep an eye on that. And then in terms of levels of support, if you like to play more so the pullbacks, area right down there around $1.76. And then once again, I'll do this more so kind of crudely here. But in terms of the pattern, keep it one color. We have our resistance. We have our support. You have the big upward move right here. And another, whether you want to call it a bull pennant, bull flag. But point here being you had the big surge. You're now getting consolidation. Not just a question of can the price get the break up through there. So we'll see what happens on Monday. Next, VERB. And this was a penny stock that got a whole bunch of volume today. And now it's pulled back here a bit. So on that note, this is where things get a little tricky because I understand if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you were buying right there, or maybe you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes. Well, then from that perspective, yeah, things look pretty rough because there was this bigger pullback here that occurred pretty much all afternoon long. You can't take anything away from that. With that being said, if you care about the bigger picture, well, part of that is going to be saying, well, yeah, fair enough, Clay, it pulled back this afternoon. But what was happening before this big pullback? And well, before the big pullback, you had this big old move up right here, which again has allowed a bull pennant to be drawn. Now, again, I fully understand and realize that if you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, you don't care about this bull pennant. So that's why I'm trying to distinguish between, do you care about more so from a bigger picture standpoint or a much more narrower time frame? But assuming you care about the big picture point of view, I would still call this a bull pennant pattern. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennants, definitely keep an eye on this one for next week. Next one, STI, and first thing, want to just get this overall trend line in play, just because I think a lot of people have drawn this, so we once again have that potential self-fulfilling prophecy where a lot of people have drawn this very basic trend line. So if the price next week can come back up here and then get the break up through there, more than valid to think that that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. So keep an eye on that dynamic if the price does try to recover back upwards. In terms of areas of support, main level to watch going to be all about that purple line down there, 50 period moving average. And then from a much broader standpoint, you can watch that 200 period moving average. But I also fully admit that as of right now, that 200 period moving average, pretty irrelevant. But like I said, just from an overarching standpoint, those would be the two main levels. But I think the most interesting dynamic here moving forward is all about, can this continue to consolidate out, curl upwards, and then get up there and break through that level. So we'll see what happens. Next one here, AMC. And wow, what a way to end the week. Yesterday I was talking about this one and how, yeah, it had broken down through the bottom part of this pattern, not looking so good, but at least it was battling. But today, wow, very, very impressive bounce. So for any of you that watch my past videos and watch me talking about that $4.20 mark as an area of support, I mean, right here, the power of charts came down here, Round around the general area, found support, and then got the beautiful bounce back upwards here. So moving forward, two main areas of resistance. First level going to be that pink line, which you now know is that 200 period moving average. If the price can push up through there, the next key level after that, would be that area right up there, which was a high from today at $4.55. So keep an eye on that. But one hurdle at a time. First key hurdle, that 200 period moving average, and yeah, you can put more focus right up there at 455. In terms of areas of support, ideally speaking, you want to see the price stay above that purple line there, 50 period moving average. That would make things look the strongest and healthiest. But the must-hold do or die level is that $4.20 mark, which as you now can see, is the price isn't anywhere close to it. But overall, very, very nice bounce today. Can this bounce build momentum into next week? We'll see what happens. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage you can use to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Next, JTAI. Big mover today, got the pullback, but even now, once again, as I've said, if you're a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 2 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the chart looks absolutely terrible. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view things, yeah, pulled back, but overall you still do have a nice overall pattern. So you have a trend line right there, and then I'm not even going to use a lower trend line because for the lower trend line, let's just use the 200 period moving average and then to keep it one color. So we have our support, we have our resistance, we have the big move up. For you golfers, to make it more visual, put the golf hole down here. We have ourselves a bull pennant pattern, which you've already heard me talk about, so I don't need to spend any more time on that. So if you like stocks down below $2, you like bull pennants, definitely keep an eye on this one. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and it just kind of goes to show how low the bar is right now. But this one finally didn't put in any new lows. It actually maintained itself. At least I think it did. Let's double check that real quick. So the low was right. Yeah, it did. So no new lows today. So moving forward, that 160.50 mark, certainly going to be a key area of support. You go back there to late afternoon on Thursday, and then you look right here. That's the closest it got today on Friday. And, didn't hit it exactly, but got close enough and did bounce nicely. So, yeah, no doubt about it. 160.50 going to be a very important level of support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, nothing new here. And this should, for those of you that watched yesterday's video, this should sound familiar. But I talked about 164 being that area of resistance. And you can see right here, fake breakout, and then just rejected. So I'm not saying that 164 cannot be broken. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is getting rejected at that area and headed into next week. That's certainly going to be public enemy number one in terms of areas of resistance. And even if the price does break above it, keep in mind you do have that 50 period moving average sloping downwards, which you'll need to contend with also. But one hurdle at a time, and let's just see if it can even break up through that 164 hurdle. But like I said, on the bright side of things, at least Tesla finally stopped putting in new lows. It went sideways today, so we'll see if that is any sort of leading indicator or not of maybe some sort of temporary bottom being formed. Next one, FSR, and talked about this in yesterday's video and how this had gotten beat down, drew the trend line. You can see the price was broken right there. Nice gap up. Unfortunately, it pulled back, but on the pullback, at least it didn't come all the way back down and just keep on going or anything like that. It actually went sideways and went sideways at a higher level. So, I mean, yes, there's still a lot more work that needs to be done, but it's a step in the right direction. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this level up now. And what I would call the must-hold level at 16 cents, and the very basic logic. I'm not saying this will occur, but if it were, the price comes down to 16 and then just breaks down below there, what would that be doing to the price at that point in time? That would quite literally be putting the price right back to where it was. And not to insult your intelligence, but that's not really the sign of any sort of turnaround where the price makes a nice move and then goes back to where it was. However, if the price can stay above that level, so it comes down there and bounces back upwards, what would you have? Well, you'd have a low there, you'd have a low there, and if you envision those as stair steps, then overall you'd have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. So that's why to me, 16 cents, very, very important. It's going to be the area that helps us answer the question, well, is the price making progress? And we are defining progress as 16 cents, so let's see if the price can stay above it. Next one, SOXS, and the uptrend continues. Put in higher highs once again today with higher lows. So overall, and I just want to start kind of just from a bigger picture standpoint because you can see that from that standpoint, those lows keep getting higher and higher. The highs keep getting higher and higher. So just from a trend standpoint, that's what it's all about. And we'll zoom in here now, but just want to give that overall context. But as of right now, actually very interesting last 30 minutes because the last pretty much all afternoon long, the price was just consolidating here, and there was this trend line right here that was, really illustrating that. But as I speak, and let's see, market closes in 5 minutes. So can the price actually stay above this area? Which brings about the question, okay, is this last 30 minutes a leading indicator of more momentum to come? Is this the breakout that's actually occurring on Friday afternoon here before it really kicks into another gear on Monday? Obviously, that all remains to be seen. That's pure speculation. But the core idea here is at least we have reason to speculate. Had the price not broken that level, then it wouldn't make any sense to say, okay, is this breakout the start of something bigger? Well, because there's no breakout to begin with. But we do have a breakout, so it does make sense to ask that question and speculate a little bit. Is this breakout the start of something bigger for next week? So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, definitely a very nice close for this one. And we'll see if it can get up there and push through new highs and keep this overall uptrend in the upwards direction. Next, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to rise as a whole, this one will also rise. And yes, a very rough day today for the NASDAQ. Therefore, this one also had a very rough day. And a couple updates need to be done. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose, and I don't want to have too much clutter. But the first update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and that actually played out perfectly this morning. You can see the price gap down below it, came back up, rejected, came back up again, rejected. So I'm not saying that 58.95 cannot be broken. Again, I'm saying just that makes sense, and that if the price does try to curl back upwards, that'll be the first big question mark, the first big test. Can the price actually get back above that area and stay above it? So 58.95 main area of resistance in terms of level. In fact, I guess I can just get rid of that one now that it's pulled back even more. But as you're seeing here, it's been a long time since the price has been down in this part of the chart. It's been several weeks here, so just kind of keep that perspective in mind. But as far as supports moving into next week, nothing fancy here, very basic logic. Just a question of, well, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at 57.25. So no fancy reasoning other than that's just where the bleeding stopped. So 57.25 will be that first key level of support. If the price breaks below there, then yeah, you'll have to really start to expand the chart out. But it did bounce, and now you got a little bit of a consolidation here. So we'll see if this bounce can continue into next week. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. And for you Bitcoin traders, I'll get to that in just a second. But for you stock traders, definitely go get signed up for that free webinar next week. It'll be Thursday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. So again, go get signed up. Now for you Bitcoin traders, let's talk about the chart. One quick clarification here. We are no longer looking at the 30-minute time frame. We are looking at the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 4 hours. And yes, it has continued to be very, very volatile. And this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched previous videos, but talked about these areas of support. And you can see actually the bottom part was essentially right below the support zone. So it essentially stopped going down for now, right in the middle of this area. So I'm going to keep these levels out because I think the price is really, now that we're seeing that, really going to respect this support zone right here. So as far as the support zone, top of it, 67,250, bottom of it, 64,500. So continue to watch there. And like I said, this is all just based on the confirmation that we had essentially the price stop right in the middle, give or take, of that area. So continue to watch that as we head into the weekend. And as I speak right now, this bounce here has been rejected down quite a bit. So it was at one point over the 4-hour time frame, big green candle, but now the price has gotten pushed back down. So is that going to lead to more pullback? We'll have to see what happens. And if you're watching this Sunday afternoon, for example, you're going to have a lot more information. You're going to know what actually happened after this candle here. But this candle does suggest that there could be some further movement to the downside because of the rejection of that bounce. But all things considered, you can see here, the trend is still plenty in the upwards direction. So yes, it's currently a pullback right now. Really, the major difference right now is the price is down below that purple line, the 50-period moving average. Does that mean that it's completely wrecked? It doesn't. It's just one little difference there to keep in mind that, yeah, maybe it'll need to consolidate out a little bit longer compared to these previous sessions. But all things considered, especially if you're an overall, care about the overall things, then everything is perfectly fine. But if you're, that day trader that bought right there and wanted to buy and sell within an hour, yeah, not looking good for you. But for the bigger picture people, the trend is still plenty in the upwards direction. And same for you Bitcoin traders, definitely go get signed up for that class because what you learn about can certainly and should certainly be applied to any sort of crypto. So it'll be Thursday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So come join the stock traders, learn about this tool that applies no matter what you're trading. And I'm very confident you will benefit from it. If you enjoy these top 10 videos and if you appreciate Bitcoin being thrown in as a bonus chart, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.